Just as important as where we live is how we live. That means making the proper legal preparations, and that's why it's important to utilize the services of a legal team that understands elder law as well as estate and special needs planning. Frank, and Scherr is just such a legal team.
Frank, and Scherr has been around since 1985. We've been focused on providing services to families with disabilities, whether they're primarily age-related or other basis for the disability. Since then, the initial focus, and still the primary focus, is in the area of public benefit eligibility, and I'm specifically really talking about Medicaid long-term care eligibility, but also other public benefit programs that provide benefits to folks who have primarily age-related, but not exclusively age-related disabilities.
If you're pre-planning, it's looking at what your future needs may be. If it's crisis-oriented, which a lot of our practice is, then it's might have a healthcare crisis and you have big long-term care expenses, and what are you going to do to be able to meet these expenses and still provide for your family?
I'll often get a call from a family member stating that they have a loved one who's had maybe a catastrophic health situation where they're facing the need for permanent long-term care, as in needing to be in a nursing home. And they've been advised that after their insurance ends, which only covers a short period of time, they're going to be faced with a bill of somewhere around and upwards of $10,000 a month. And that's a very scary situation if a spouse, realizes that their retirement savings could go very quickly if their loved one was in a nursing home for a period of time. So what I can help with is guiding them on how to protect their assets by way of qualifying for benefit programs.
We help families when there's a husband and wife and one is in a nursing home, try and protect as much of the assets as possible for the spouse that's still at home. When there's a single person, we try to protect as much of the assets as possible for the family members and see to it that the intention of the disabled person are carried out in terms of trying to protect those assets.
And so it's looking at ways in which to be able to get help getting that paid care paid for, so you don't become impoverished or your spouse doesn't become impoverished. Or if you wanted to be able to have your savings go where you wanted them when you pass away, and not everything go to pay for your care, and you wanted to be able to preserve something for your child, or if your child has disabilities, to be able to help protect things for yourself and your family.
The important thing initially is to make sure that everyone has the proper documents. Especially if they were to become disabled down the road, they need to be able to appoint legally other persons to step in, manage their finances for them, be able to make medical decisions on their behalf if someone is incompetent and unable to speak for themselves. So we want to make sure, if we can and if it's soon enough, that everyone has a power of attorney, a medical directive, a living will, and a last will and testament.
There are two things that I really want to stress, and that is proper planning. That everyone needs to make sure that they have basic documents in place, wills, powers of attorney, advance directives, if not more complex documents like special needs trusts when they're disabled family members, and the various provisions that you need to make sure are in these documents to make them useful. And then if something happens, rather than trying to struggle through a system which is extremely difficult to maneuver through, but to seek the counsel that we can provide to make things happen quickly, effectively, and to maximize the ability to protect assets, to get decisions made the way people would want them to be made, and to make sure that as bad as things are, they aren't made worse.
See an elder law attorney. We know the issues that are facing seniors and what important language needs to be in the powers of attorney.
If you want to plan for your future and try to have control over what is going to happen, and who is going to make decisions for you if you're not able to do them yourself. And if you want to be sure things go the way you want them to go when you pass away, then you really want to come in when you're well, and you know what your situation is, so you can review everything, decide what you want to do, and get the proper documents in place to do that. It's looking at your whole situation, looking at what you want, and putting things in place to have that happen for you. Because if you don't do it, and you have a healthcare crisis down the road, and you're not able to make decisions for yourself, then you haven't had the opportunity to choose who's going to do that for you.
The firm of Frank and Scherr focuses our practice in the areas of asset management, medical decision-making, long-term care planning, special needs planning, and estate planning and administration. These are the things that we do, these are the things that we do well, and these are the things that allow us to really help our clients get through what are typically very painful and all-consuming circumstances.
For more information or to set up an appointment, visit their website, frankelderlaw.com, or call Frank and Scherr at 410-337-8900.